They say every farm has its drama, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the day an HOA. Karen marched onto my property with a clipboard, a bright neon vest, and an attitude strong enough to sour fresh milk. I remember the morning clearly, sun rising over the fields, my cows calm, wind soft, peace everywhere, until a Lexus SUV rolled down my private dirt road like it owned the place. And right then I realized this wasn't a normal neighborly visit. This was the beginning of a storm. I'm Jake, third-generation farmer. Land matters to me. It holds history, sweat, memories, and roots. People think farming is only tractors and hay bales. But out here, land is life. And someone trying to touch it is like someone reaching for your heartbeat. So when Karen stepped out, sunglasses, pearl necklace, and what I can only describe as I run the world energy, I already knew trouble had arrived. She didn't say hello, didn't smile, didn't even introduce herself. Instead, she held up her clipboard and snapped, "We will be expanding the neighborhood walking path through here. You'll need to remove this section of fencing by next month." I stared, blinked, laughed once. "Ma'am, this is my farm." She lifted her chin. "And this is an HOA-regulated community. We voted. This path benefits everyone." Everyone except the person who actually owns the land, I thought. I pointed to the big metal sign that clearly read private farm property, no access. Trespassers will be removed. She squinted at it like rules only applied to other people. "Cute sign," she said. "But things are changing. You can either cooperate or face consequences." Consequences. On land my grandfather plowed, my father built barns on. The dirt where I learned to walk, drive, work, and dream. I could feel my jaw tighten. "Show me your authority," I said calmly. She smirked. "Paperwork is coming. Just get ready." Then she turned, sprayed orange survey paint on my grass, and walked back to her car like she had just conquered something. She had no idea she had just woken up a sleeping bull. That night I dug out every deed, survey map, boundary document, and county record. If she wanted a fight, she was going to meet the law, the land, and a farmer who doesn't back down. This wasn't just property anymore. It was pride. And deep down, something else boiled too. A promise to my grandfather that no outsider, no fake authority, and no entitled neighbor would ever carve a path through our heritage without earning every inch, through respect, truth, and real legal right and real honor. I woke up the next morning expecting peace. Maybe she'd thought it over, realized she'd crossed a line, and backed off. Nope. I stepped onto my porch with my coffee and nearly spit it out. 3 cars were parked outside my gate. Karen's Lexus, another shiny SUV, and a golf cart with HOA stickers. And there they were. Karen, her husband wearing a sweater tied over his shoulders like a yacht captain, and 2 HOA board members, all staring at my fence like it personally insulted them. Karen waved at me like she was greeting a servant. "Good, you're awake. We're moving forward with the path survey today." I walked toward them slowly, calm, careful. Because I knew one thing. People like Karen crave reaction. They live off control. "This is private agricultural land," I said firmly. "Not HOA property." Her husband scoffed. "This whole area is part of our community infrastructure plan." I smiled. Funny, because I checked the county zoning office last night, and the HOA boundary ends a full half-mile from my driveway. You can't regulate soil you don't own. Karen rolled her eyes dramatically. She pulled out papers, not legal documents, but HOA newsletters printed in fancy fonts with clip art trees. "It's in writing. We voted. You can vote to build a roller coaster in your backyard," I replied. "Doesn't mean Six Flags suddenly owes you land." One of the HOA guys stepped forward, chest puffed like a rooster. "We will fine you for obstruction." I laughed for real that time. "Fine me? On my land that your HOA doesn't govern?" They didn't like that. Karen stomped toward my fence and shook it. "This fence will be removed. You can't block community progress." I pulled my phone out and hit record. "Thank you for confirming your trespassing and attempting to damage private property." Her eyes widened. Her confidence cracked, just a little. "You can't record me," she snapped. "Oh, I can. This is my land. And you're here, uninvited, trying to change it." Then I pulled out my ACE, a certified copy of my land deed, stamped by the county. "This land has belonged to my family since 1954. Verified, filed, protected, and your HOA has 0 jurisdiction here." Silence. Karen's face turned the color of a ripe tomato. Her husband's jaw clenched. One HOA guy adjusted his glasses like he suddenly wished he was anywhere else. I leaned in slightly. "Pack your papers, pack your attitudes, and leave before I call the sheriff." Karen hissed like a cat that lost its territory battle. "This isn't over," she whispered. She was right. It wasn't. It was just the beginning. When someone threatens your land, you don't sleep. You strategize. And by morning, I was ready. I reinforced the fence line, added new warning signs, and installed a trail camera pointed at the area Karen kept eyeing. Because if she thought she could bully me like she owned a piece of my soil, she was about to learn what generational land defense looks like. Around noon, dust kicked up on the road again. Karen wasn't even pretending to be subtle anymore. Her SUV barreled straight toward my fence like she was on a mission from the HOA god she imagined herself to be. Except this time, she wasn't alone. She'd brought construction tape, stakes, and 2 landscapers who looked confused and underpaid. She marched out and yelled, "Stand aside. We're installing the initial walking path markers." I didn't move. "You're not putting a single stick in my ground." Karen motioned at the workers. "Go ahead. He has been notified." They hesitated. I pointed at them. "This is private property. Step 1 foot across and you're trespassing. I don't blame you. I blame the woman trying to use you as pawns." They backed away instantly. Karen glared daggers at them, then at me. Her voice shook, angry, entitled, desperate. "You don't own this land the way you think you do. This community deserves access. We all deserve nature." I raised an eyebrow. "Funny. You never cared about nature until a walking path increased HOA property value." She froze, caught. And then, in a moment that will go down in neighborhood legend, she hopped into her SUV, reversed, and tried to drive through my fence. Wood cracked, dust rose. My heart dropped, not in fear but in fury. She actually thought she could break her way in. The car hit the middle post and stopped, the fence holding like a champion. Karen slammed her horn. Her front bumper? Not so lucky. It crumpled like a soda can. She stumbled out, hair wild, face red, screaming, "You damaged my vehicle! Your fence is a hazard. I'm fining you." I recorded every second. "My fence didn't move," I said calmly. "Your car did. And this footage will look great for the sheriff. And insurance claims." She sputtered like a kettle boiling over. You can't do this! I have rights!" "Yes," I replied. "To stay off property you don't own." And right on cue, the trail camera timer clicked, taking pictures of the dent, the fence, and Karen mid-meltdown. Then I made the call. "Hi, Sheriff. Someone just tried to illegally force entry onto private farmland." Karen's face drained. She thought the HOA shielded her. But law beats ego, every time. And the sheriff? He was already on his way. The sheriff arrived with lights flashing. Not racing, just cruising. Like he already knew what kind of nonsense he was about to deal with. Small town. Word travels fast. And when it comes to HOA drama, trust me, deputies talk. He stepped out, hat low, hands resting calmly on his belt. "Morning, Jake. We got a call about a property dispute?" Before I could answer, Karen launched herself forward like she'd been waiting for her courtroom debut. "Officer, arrest him! His fence is dangerous, unstable, and illegal. He damaged my car. Look." The sheriff squinted at the fence, then at her caved-in bumper, then at me. "You rammed his fence?" She gasped. "It was in my way! This land belongs to our community. He's stopping a public project." The sheriff looked like he had to physically fight the urge to laugh. "Ma'am, this is registered agricultural land, not HOA territory. Been that way since before half this county was even built." Karen blinked like someone unplugged her brain. I handed over the folder. Deed, plats, county maps, everything stamped official. The sheriff flipped through, nodding like he'd seen these same documents many times over the years. "You've got everything in order, Jake," he said. Then he turned to Karen, tone shifting like a door slamming shut. "Ma'am, not only do you not have authority here, you've committed property damage, attempted trespass and possibly harassment. And from the look of it," he tapped the trail cam, still taking photos, "we got video evidence." Karen's voice shrank, but her ego didn't. "You don't understand. I'm on the HOA board. I make community decisions." The sheriff chuckled, loud. "Well, the county makes legal decisions. And out here, the law beats HOA newsletters." Her husband whispered urgently, "Karen, let's go," but she shoved him aside, still clinging to her fantasy of power. "I'll have lawyers all over this town," she shouted. I folded my arms. "Good. They'll explain property lines to you better than I did." At last, the sheriff delivered the final blow. "Ma'am, you leave this man's land now, or I cite you. And if you come back without legal cause, we escalate charges. Understand?" She froze, deflated, like someone finally pulled the plug on her authority battery. She stomped to her SUV, or what remained of it, metal scraping as she drove off. Defeated, lid of her ego crushed like her bumper. And that was it. The fence still stood. The deed won. The sheriff backed it. Respect earned, battle closed. Later, a letter arrived from the HOA. They officially acknowledged my land was not theirs. Karen was removed from the board after behavior unbecoming of a community representative. Her ego shattered beyond repair. And my land? Still mine. still sacred, still protected by law, family, history, and one stubborn farmer who refused to bow, because some fences protect more than fields. They protect legacy. If you enjoyed watching Karen's ego crumble and justice win, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more crazy HOA drama, and drop a comment telling me what you would have done in this situation. Your support keeps stories like this coming. See you in the next one.